Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at this 2023 Toyota Tacoma TRD Offroad. Huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this truck for me today. Check out their website because they have a massive selection of pretty much brand new inventory. That link is down in the description. So the Tacoma that you see behind me is finished off in a very unique electric lime, and we'll go over the starting MSRP once we get this out on the road and go over all the specs and features for this off-road model. So let's start off with what powers the Tacoma. This has a 3.5 liter V6. This one here is paired to the 6-speed manual transmission, and it pumps out 278 horsepower, 265 pound-feet of torque. That power is primarily sent to the rear wheels. However, this does have the 4-wheel drive system. It weighs in right around 4,400 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in around 7.5 seconds, up to its top speed of 130 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 21.5 gallons. You'll expect to see around 17 miles per gallon in the city, 20 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 127.4 inches. Its overall length is 212.3. It has a width of 75.2, a height of 70.6. Its ground clearance measures in at 9.4 inches. And it also has an approach angle of 36.4 degrees, a breakover angle of 24.7, and a departure angle of 26.6 degrees. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this Tacoma, let's start off with the gray trim for the entire grille. I think it's a really nice accent against this green. The Toyota badge is also the forward-facing sensor, so it's nice that it's incorporated into that badge itself, and there are plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling. Now this model also has the LED package, so the headlights, DRLs, and turn signals are all LED. The fog lights surprisingly are not LED, so maybe on the next generation they will upgrade some of the lighting. Now for the TRD Offroad, the front bumper valance is plastic there. There's also skid plates up underneath, and then really nice lines coming down the hood, meeting the entire outer section of that grille surround very nicely on both sides. So it hasn't changed too much in the last few years, but I think it has a great look for this midsize truck. What's also new though, however, for the TRD Offroad models is that you can get the fender flares body colored. I own a 2017 and only the Sports came with the body colored fender flare, so it's nice to see that on the TRD Offroad. This also gets a smaller set of wheels. These measure 17 inches. You can see that multi-spoke and two-tone design, and it even has the Bilstein tuned suspension, so that way you can take this truck off-road. It is very capable in the stock form as you see in front of me. If you want to see me taking my personal Tacoma off-road in the stock form, check out those videos. I am very impressed with how well this does. Now this model also has an aftermarket set of side steps. They are steel, so you could use these as rock sliders as well. The Toyota badge is chrome. The body colored side mirrors are just above that with the integrated turn signal. There's also some black vinyl in between both of the windows just to tie them in a little bit nicer. And as far as lines go for the side, you can see that massive indentation in the lower section. It even works its way to the back of the bed. And there's some lines just above that next to that TRD 4x4 off-road badge. But as we work our way to the rear, Tacoma is stamped, or Toyota is stamped on the release gate along with the backup camera, and then Tacoma is down in the lower section, black with the red accents. That's a really cool combo against this green. Now this does not have LED taillights. The bumper end caps, however, are body colored along with all the parking sensors, and this can even tow right around 6,400 pounds. Realistically, you're looking right around 4,500 to 5,000 with my experience with my own Tacoma, and then the side exit exhaust comes out of that passenger side. So let's work our way to this 5-foot bed. So this has the soft open tailgate, which means that you can just let it slowly open up. And this particular model has a mat here just to give you some more protection for that plastic bed. There's several tie-down hooks. There's even a 3-prong outlet and a little bit of storage on that passenger side. I think it's a really good size. You can get so many different aftermarket covers and full covers just depending on how you're going to use your truck as well. But I have had no issues over the 5 years experience with my 5-foot bed. I think it is plenty to have. Now as we work our way to the rear, you'll see the door panel is pretty simple. There's a nice fabric on this armrest. We have a trim piece surrounding the window control, chrome on that release handle, and a little bit of storage down in the lower section. And then this even has two-tone for these cloth seats. Really nice design to them. And then with that side step, you can also use the grab handle up top if you need to, but in the stock form, it's a pretty low truck, so honestly, that's not really needed. But as far as room goes in the back, you can see it's a little bit cramped for me. There's 2 cup holders right in the middle. And then as far as headroom goes, I have probably about a ½ inch or less above my head. Now it is crammed for the Tacoma. It's not the largest mid-size truck for backseat area, but I've been in the back of my own Tacoma. It's really not all that bad, mainly around town. You won't be taking this on long trips, riding in the back or anything like that. It can get a little bit stiff, but it is doable if you want the quad cab. Now the window that you see right there is electronic, so there's a button up front. You can open and close that as needed. And then you have plenty of visibility out of the back glass. So it's very easy to see all around. Now what I also love about the Tacoma, while it is small, you actually have a lot of hidden storage. So if I lift the bottom of the seat up and open up this compartment, you'll see just how much more storage there is. There's also some over the passenger side there, so that way you can fit in a lot of items. And then you can even fold down the backrest too. So you do have to have the bottoms up. You can remove the headrest, and then this will fold completely flat. With this hard plastic backing, you can put in a lot more items as needed and keep that cloth better protected. And then as you can tell, there's a little bit more storage space. I utilize all of that space in my Tacoma, so it's very helpful to have. Now as we work our way to the front door handle, you'll see there is no sensor on these door handles, so it does not have the proximity key, and I will show that here soon why. But we have a very similar design, just like you saw in the rear, all the window controls, side mirror adjustments as well. And then this has the all-weather floor mats, automatic front seats with the same two-tone design for the cloth. And it's just as easy to hop into the front. Now I do wish, I've seen a lot of people do this, there's no grab handle over on this A-pillar. There is one for your passenger side. I've seen some people add them to the Tacoma. I think that is a really good option to have, but it does not come from the factory like that. But as we look at the steering wheel, it has solid and perforated leather. On this right side, there's cruise control. There's also the adaptive cruise lane keeping assist. All of these arrows are for the gauge cluster, and then on this left side you will see tuning and volume along with Bluetooth and voice commands. But let's fire up this Tacoma. The reason that it has the 5-foot bed and no proximity key is because of that 6-speed manual transmission. So if you opt for the manual, you do get the turn key. So by inserting that and turning on the accessories, I can put my foot on the clutch and we can fire this up. And looking at the gauge cluster, it is pretty simple. On the left side is the tach and the engine temperature. Right side is the miles per hour and the fuel gauge. And then right in the middle, using those arrows on the right side, we can look at miles per hour along with distance till empty. There's some other averages that you can pull up along with your distances. There's even a time until rest. So if you've been driving for a long period of time, it will tell you when it's time to pull over and take a break. There is a calm screen too. You can look at your cruise control along with your lane keeping assist, even the tire pressure, and then there's even diagrams for your pitch and your roll. So if you're taking this off-road, you can monitor those, as well as any messages you may have, and you can go through these settings to further customize this. So that is all that you get for the center, but it is very helpful to have all of that right in the middle. Now over on this left side, you will see traction control along with the cargo light for the rear, so you can turn that on and off. There's the automatic headlights along with that 3-prong outlet, which you can adjust, of course. And then there's even the clutch start cancel. So by pushing on that, you don't have to use the clutch to start this up. However, I did find that you do have to be in neutral in order to activate that. Now also on this left side, there's one air vent and some more trim. And that trim works its way around the entire infotainment system. You will see an air vent on both sides. And then for this touchscreen system, on the home setting, you'll see audio and phone along with a range diagram. You can configure this as needed. Just underneath that, we can push on menu. So you can pull up your audio and your phone. Projection is how you can actually pair your phone to the system. So that's nice to have. If you do opt for navigation, the map button is right there. And then there's seek and track and even some apps in your phone on that right side. So you can go through that info. This also has power and volume for the radio. Tuning is on that far right side. And then underneath that, you will notice another LCD screen. That is for the climate adjustments. So by adjusting the fan speed right now, you will see that in that screen there. We have the temperature dials on driver and passenger side for the dual zone, as well as the modes, which is pushing on this button right in the middle. So it's nice to see that these dials are multifunctional. So that's great to have. You can turn that off too. On this left side, there's all the 4-wheel drive selectors along with the heated side mirrors. And then underneath that, this has blind spot monitoring, the parking sensors, which you can turn on and off. There's that rear glass that I mentioned earlier. There's also a 12 volt and a USB and a wireless charging pad. So just by pushing on this icon, that pad is down below. You can get your phone charging, which is really nice. And then coming back to the 6-speed manual. So all the way over to the left and up is for reverse, where you will see that backup camera appear with the 3 guidelines. Very, very helpful to have for this truck. And then of course we have the rest of the gears, which we will talk about once we get this out on the road. Now there's a little bit of storage just behind that, along with 2 cup holders. Still gets the manual parking brake, so you can adjust that. And then right in the middle for the center armrest, there's actually a good amount of space. So you can place some items there along with some auxiliaries, so you can charge those as needed. And then on the glove box, you have an ample amount of space, even Tacoma stamped, to match the tailgate, which is really nice. Now up top, this also has a sunglass holder, and then behind that is the 8-track system as well as the rear locker, so you can use those while you are off-road. There's the dome lights too. As we set off now behind the wheel for this manual Tacoma, if you are new to our channel, I own a 2017 TRD Offroad. It is the automatic. So I have a lot of content surrounding the Tacoma, both in the Tacoma playlist for my own Tacoma, as well as all of the Tacoma reviews that I have. So if you are interested in this amazing midsize truck, check out all of those other videos, just depending on what interests you the most. So the Tacoma that we're in right now, they have a starting MSRP right around $37,000, $38,000. Not really all that bad, considering my 2017 was around $33,000, $34,000. So it really hasn't gone up too much since the 2017 model that I bought brand new. However, they are getting more expensive. You can still get the TRD or the Limited and then the TRD Pro, which are going to cost a little bit more than this. So what do you get for basically $40,000? Well, you've seen everything that I've gone over so far, but you just get a really nice driving truck. And I'm not trying to be biased because I have several Tacoma videos, but that is the reason that I bought the Tacoma over some of the other competitors. And this is the only mid-size Tacoma for the US market to get that 6-speed manual transmission. So if you are a 3-pedal kind of person and you want a mid-size truck, the Tacoma is your only option. And it's awesome to see that Tacoma is keeping the manual alive. With that being said, however, I believe that the next generation Tacoma is strictly going to a 10-speed auto. So for the 2023 that I am in right now, this is basically your last chance to get a brand new Tacoma with 3 pedals. Very interesting to see Tacoma going away from that, because I think there's still a huge demand for the manual Tacoma. They're rare to see simply because they are not as popular, of course, as the automatic. But I think that's one of the reasons why people like buying it, because you have the manual option. And as far as shifting in the manual, it's what you would expect for a manual truck. I would like to see a shorter style shifter because I'm used to my sports car, so obviously much different for the Tacoma. Not really the quickest truck getting up to speed. I've experienced that in my Tacoma as well. Not a 0 to 60 vehicle, but I could see it needing some more power, which I think we will see for the next generation Tacoma. That should be 24, maybe 25, or a 26. So in the next couple of years, we should see a complete refresh for this midsize truck, and put money on it that I will buy one once it comes out, because I'm super excited to see that truck when it comes out. But for the Tacoma run right now, clutch is very lightweight, so I like how it drives, and the shifter is a little bit notchy when you get it into the gear you want, so good driver feedback. And everything else is what you would expect to see in a Tacoma, but let's do another minor acceleration for this. I'm not getting high in those RPMs at all, but just a nice mild acceleration. It's easy to go through the gears. The one thing that I will say, I'm not a huge fan of first gear in this truck, and I tried doing some starts from second. It kind of bogs down, and of course is not really meant for starting up from a standstill. First gear is a little bit quick, it seems. By the time you're going 15, 20 miles an hour, you're ready for second gear, but it doesn't feel like you're getting up and moving. So I almost need like 1.5 gears before second, first and a half. it's interesting, and I'm wondering if re-gearing the manual would make that change a little bit different. I re-geared my automatic and I saw a huge difference. So possibly a re-gear for the manual, since they won't be making it any longer. I think that would make this just a little bit easier to drive, especially from first and second gear. Now, as far as pricing goes, again, about 40 grand for this truck. I really don't think that is unreasonable for what you're getting. I've seen a lot of comments, you can get into a full-size truck for that money. You're also getting into a base full-size truck for that money, and it depends on what you are using your truck for. I love off-roading. I can't do that in a full-size truck where I live. I have really tight, small, narrow trails where a mid-size truck is your only option. So yes, it's a lot of money when you compare it to a base full size, but you can get some pretty loaded mid-size trucks for that range. As far as the competition for this Tacoma, Colorado, the GMC Canyon, we have a few others as well, Nissan Frontier. Personally, I think this is the nicest of all of them. I think you get the most for your money with the Tacoma. You also get the highest resale value. I could probably sell my 2017 for more than I paid for it back in 2017 in today's market. So 50,000 miles later, I pretty much have a free Tacoma. So that is one big reason. If you are worried about what you will lose, you're not gonna lose anything hardly in a Tacoma. So I love that. For 40 grand, you're gonna get pretty much your 40 grand back, even with a higher mileage vehicle. So they retain a lot of their value. And just driving this out on the road with my 50,000 miles plus experience behind Tacomas, I truly like them. I don't necessarily like the stock suspension. It's very kind of soft and floaty, which does give it a good ride. I like it a little bit stiffer, but this is great for the factory truck. Very quiet too, really no road noise or wind noise. And it handles like you would expect for a pickup truck. You're not gonna be taking corners extremely fast. But it's definitely a great daily, a little bit on the smaller size. I think the next gen might have a little bit a larger backseat area, maybe some more leg room, a little bit of headroom possibly. So it'll be cool to see. So if you are looking to get a manual Tacoma, you want a bright, bold color like this electric lime, is this your last chance to get it for 2023 before I think they ditch the manual, unfortunately. But that is going to wrap it up for this walk-around review and test drive in the manual Tacoma, a dying breed, unfortunately. So get them while they last. I hope you enjoyed today's video though. Give it a huge thumbs up, smash that subscribe button. I will see you all in the next video.